Ms. Garcia, who is also the Vice Chair of the Subcommittee on Diversity and Inclusion, is now recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and to all the witnesses. I apologize that I was not here to hear your testimony, but like Ms. Dean mentioned earlier, we were all involved in some organizational leadership elections this morning and were called away. But I'm just so glad we're doing this hearing because I frankly think that we can't really talk enough about the need for affordable housing, not just, in the cities that you have mentioned, but really across America. And I want to first start by thanking you, Ms. Edie, for being here today, for having the courage, having the activism, and for having the voice that you have to speak up and work on these issues for so many people across America. I can tell you that I've been working on this issue since I was a young legal aid lawyer. I represented the Houston Welfare Rights Association, and one of the planks we had then, and it continues today, is getting more affordable public housing. We focused a lot on that, and it always was helpful when we had clients like you that were active and engaged and could speak for others, so thank you for being that voice. And please know that there's many of us in this room and others that support you and hear you and will continue our fight. And of course, you can't find a better champion for all that than our chairwoman, who has pushed and pushed on this issue for years. So the fight will continue, I'm sure. I want to start with you, Ms. Bailey. I'm from a Latino district, 77% Latino, and Latinos were probably the only one ethnic sector that kind of increased its home ownership rate this last year. But it doesn't mean we're there yet either. And I think some of the issues for us are compounded when if you include the unauthorized immigrant in the mix of Latino, that also adds a different subset of issues with some providers and landlords not wanting to lease or rent to people who are unauthorized in this country. So given that Latinos are positioned to be the largest group of home buyers in the nation, I'm concerned of a lot of the barriers to housing affordability that will block their process, because we will continue to grow. We're here to stay. So please share your perspective on the potential that interest hikes will hinder the progress for home buyers of color, in particular the Latino community, and how can affordability challenges widen the racial gap?
Thank you so much for the question. So as you said, Latinos are going to play a major role in the mortgage market. 7 out of 10 future buyers are going to be people of color, with Latinos accounting for a large majority of those buyers, along with African Americans and Asian Americans and Native communities. So one of the things that we need to do is to make sure the very buyers that the future system depends have access to targeted first-generation down payment assistance as provided in the Down Payment Toward Equity Act that has been a part of the House passed Build Back Better Act. That targeting of down payment assistance helps to overcome one of the biggest barriers, which is the lack of down payment, because families have not had equitable opportunities to build home ownership over intergenerational times. I like to say today's renters are tomorrow's homeowners. So we have to do everything for homeowners to make sure they have equitable housing opportunities, including making sure there's real support for increasing vouchers, and that HUD gets the resources that it needs to effectively implement its programs, because HUD has been gutted and doesn't have proper staffing
Correct.
To do the fair housing.
Particularly the last administration.
Yes.
Right. Well, recently our major and only newspaper in Houston, the Houston Chronicle, published an article in September highlighting the impacts of inflation on rent prices, demonstrating that prices in Houston are becoming troublingly unaffordable. I mean, I think the article was like, where is our affordable housing in Houston? The average apartment rents in the city have increased by 12% since 2019 to an average of $1,300 per month. Can you speak about the ways that high rents costs can hinder home ownership, and which is an important tool for building wealth, especially for income renters?
They actually stop families from being able to save, but another thing that happens is that in credit scoring, which is typically one of the underwriting criteria, our current credit scoring models don't even factor in positive rental payment history. So what we need is to make sure those credit score models actually become more inclusive and factor in that positive history, because when we look at things like positive rental payment history, we actually see that we can expand the credit box for the more than 8 million mortgage-ready Latino and African-American consumers who are ready to enter into the homeownership space.
Thank you. And Madam Chair, I yield back. My time is up.
Thank you. The gentleman from Massachusetts, Mr. Auchincloss, who is also the vice chair of the full committee, is now recognized for 5 minutes.